Anthony Hartwig here with a Archbishop Hoban volleyball player profile. I'm joined by Amber Watson. Amber, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, we got to get the first question out of the way. Hoban is one of two teams in the YSN family to finish undefeated. You'll finish that off on Saturday with your sweep over CVCA. So how does it feel to go through a whole regular season unscathed and a perfect 21-0?
It's great. Going into the season, I expected a lot of great things from this team, but this really was something that I was really excited that we achieved.
I mean, yeah, let's start the start of the season. You look around, you have one senior, a lot of young players, a lot of faces that are stepping into bigger roles this year. What was it about this team that immediately felt so confident and so strong that they hit the ground running as soon as the season started?
Yeah, going into the season, our team chemistry was really good. We had a lot of training over the summer where we learned to play together, learned to adjust to each other, and we're a relatively young team because we only have one senior, so that kind of helped a little bit, I think, going into the season.
With only one senior, it means a lot of leadership responsibility also falls on you as just one of the leaders of this team, senior or not. What does it feel like to not be a senior, but also be in that kind of role where you almost feel like one with all the leadership that you're asked to do?
I think it's great because, especially on the court, if we're kind of digging ourselves into a hole, I like to bring the team together and say, like, deep breath, it's okay, we got this next point. So it's just something great that I think that we all share as all five juniors on the team and then including the senior.
You haven't dug yourself into many holes this year, but
No.
there have been some matches that teams have pushed you, have taken sets from you. In those moments when this team is winning so much, how have you managed to come back from the small amount of adversity you guys have had to face?
Yeah, we had a couple tough matches this season. We went into five versus Twinsburg and Arlington. So those were two pretty tough matches that we kind of had to stay confident and focus on our side in, and I think we did a good job with that.
When you're sweeping so many teams and these scores are usually lopsided, when you get into those kind of games, is it hard at all to kind of switch it up and ramp up the energy into a 5 set match when you're not used to playing that many sets in a match this season?
It is a little difficult just because we're working on starting with the momentum because sometimes you can see we come out and we are down in like the first set or two, and we try to do our best to like come back and fight back in those matches, especially.
One of the reasons it's so hard to go undefeated is because when you're that dominant, you tend to get a little lackadaisical as a team, but not you guys. What has kept this team fired up and driven all season long?
Really, I think our goal of going to states really drove us to all the wins this season and to push forward. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that's your next goal now. You have the undefeated season check mark. That goal is complete. Now it's all about focusing on tournament time for you. What's it like shifting the focus now? Regular season is done. That 21-1-0 record is fun, but it's all out the window. Now everyone starts nothing. What's that like for you to change that mindset heading into tournaments?
Yeah, we have a lot of work to do, especially fine tuning everything that we've worked on this season, especially in regular season play. So, a lot more momentum going in, a lot of tougher practices, stuff like that, that we're able to focus on and achieve our goal.
So the practices are going to get tougher. Obviously, the pressure is going to get bigger. What ways do you think you personally are going to still try to keep it same as always? If you put too much pressure on these tournament games, that's when they can catch up to you. So how do you keep it, same routine, same as always in these tournament games?
Really, I think that we need to focus on what we can do rather than what our opponent can, especially what we can do to control our offense, what we can control to do with our serve receive, defense, etc.
You bring up your offense, and man, do you have a mighty arm swing as an outside hitter for this Hoban team. What is the one way that you think you've grown the most over the span of this season so far?
I think something that I really wanted to work on this in practice this year was my shot range, especially incorporating that for cut shot. That's something that I wanted to bring into the team, and I think that I did a good job executing.
What were some other personal goals? I mean, you said I'm sure you set a bunch of them this year before the season started. Things you wanted to accomplish. What were some things that were on that list?
Yeah, so this year I'm playing all around, so playing six rotations, and I wanted to do a better job with defense. That's something that coming in, I was like, all right, I need to focus on this and do what I can to do the best for my team. So I think that that's getting better every day, every practice.
When coach decides to let you do six rotations, that means obviously he trusts you with the utmost trust. It's the most trust you can put into a volleyball player. When he comes to you and says, "Hey Amber, we're gonna leave you in. We're gonna have you as a six rotation player," what's that do for your confidence?
I think it really boosts it up because I know that I can continue to put a lot in for my team, offensively, defensively, and especially doing back row attacks. That's what I can do in the back row to help my team get some more points.
All right, let's talk about this on the court chemistry. You've brought it up a couple of times. This chemistry, this team is so tight knit. What kind of things do you do off the court to build that chemistry and build the bonds with your teammates?
Yeah, so last night we actually did some team bonding where we painted pumpkins together, did like a fun fall activity. So we like to do stuff outside of volleyball. And then in school, if you see a teammate in the hallway, we always say hi to one another. We're all really close outside of volleyball.
All right, it's a bigger school in Hoban. How much do you guys see each other during the school day? Are you spread out, or do you see each other quite a bit?
I see everyone quite a bit, so which is really nice. So
You also go to a school that puts a heavy significance on character and community outreach and being able to go out and help the community in ways that you can. For you, being able to do that for the community that supports you in turn, what's that do for you as not just as a player, but like as a person that's growing into yourself?
yeah, so Hoban is really like one big family, and it's really special because like the women's sports are growing. So like contributing to this is like something that's so huge for me.
There is so much tradition at Hoban in the athletics room. I mean, you look around and you look at those state banners that are everywhere in the school. No matter what the sport you're
Yeah.
talking about, they're everywhere. Like the standard of success in this athletics room is so big. What's it like being a part of that kind of tradition at Hoban?
Yeah, it's awesome. So our team, like the volleyball program, won states in '92 and '93, and my aunt was actually on that team. So it's really cool to see that. And I'm just hoping that we can get a banner up there too.
What's it like playing on the same volleyball team that your aunt won a state with, and now you have a legitimate chance to make a state tournament run? What's that been like for your family?
It's awesome. So my whole family, like pretty much everyone, went to Hoban. My mom played volleyball at Hoban. My dad played baseball. So it's just really cool to walk the same hallways they did, play on the same court they did, and I just want to do the best I can so that we can put a banner up for 2023.
Having a father that's an athlete, a mom that's an athlete, what kind of help is that for you to always be able to go to either one of them, whether it be for like your mom can obviously give you like legitimate volleyball advice, but your dad can also just give you being an athlete advice. What's that like to have two sources to go to for anything that you need?
It's awesome because if I ever need any advice or I'm struggling with something, my mom and dad always help me to have the right mindset, have the right goals for it, and it's really helpful for me as an athlete.
Earlier we talked about the adversity that this team has faced, not too much, but when they get in those matches this year. What about your personal adversity through your career? What do you think is the biggest form of adversity that you've had to face so far in your athletics career?
Um, well, when I was 14, I originally played middle, and then I got switched out to outside, which I was like a little like nervous about before because I hadn't really played pin before. But as I like started playing and working on transitioning, playing back row, like I ended up really liking it, and I'm so happy that I switched positions.
What were some things that were going through your mind the first time, someone came up to you and said, "Hey, we're going to move you from middle to outside"?
I was a little bit unsure, but I was like, all right, I gotta trust my coaches on this one, and I'm so glad that I did.
For the non-volleyball experts that are watching this, just go through the differences real quick, like the generic broad differences from switching to a middle to an outside, because I don't think people really respect how big of a jump that is to go from a middle blocker to an outside hitter.
Yeah. Playing middle is a lot of like intense, like running, you'd say. It's a lot like quicker because you can run like ones, twos, those are a lot faster. And then outside, it's still fast depending on what you run, but there's a lot more, I'd say, like transitioning because you have to go back further. And then also you play back row and serve receive, and middle doesn't really do that.
And you're all obviously getting a lot more opportunities to hit the ball because outsides get set more
Yeah.
than middles in most offenses. Let's talk about the relationship with you and your setter. What a wonderful setter you have. What's that like to build a relationship with your setters and to be able to work with a rhythm and to be able to be a very smooth flowing offense?
Yeah, it's awesome. I have Sophia Day, the senior, for most of my rotations, and coming into the season, I was so excited to have her as like my setter, just because I trust her so much to put the right ball out to me. I know that wherever the ball is passed, she's going to push it out, put me in the right location, and I trust that.
That's why when people say, "Oh, Hoban only has one senior," I put a big yeah, but because one of the seniors is really really big in a setter. What's it been like just trying to gather and treasure this season that you have with Sophia Day, knowing that she's going to graduate next year and you're going to have to build a relationship with a new setter next year?
Yeah, it's so special because I look at this and I'm like, this is her season. It's for her. So I want to do whatever I can to contribute to that. And hopefully we can end it on a good note with that banner.
You obviously love volleyball. You have a high volleyball IQ, which means you spend a lot of time watching it, studying it, playing it. When did you fall in love with the sport? What's your volleyball love story?
So since my mom played, she played Hoban, and then she went on to play at Malone University in Canton. So when I was younger, I tried all the sports like basketball, soccer, and I wasn't really that interested into it. So she was like, let's try volleyball. So I got put in some like little camps and clinics when I was 6 years old. And I just fell in love with it and kept playing.
What are some of your like first memories of like volleyball being a passion for you or turning into a passion rather than just something that you do?
I think when I got older, I was taught how to like stand serve instead of underhand. I'm gonna say 7 or 8 years old, and I got my first overhand serve over the net, and it was just a core memory for me because it was such an achievement, and I was like, I want to do more, keep pushing.
You have acquired a lot of skills since then and you are able to do so much on the volleyball court. What do you think it was the hardest thing to grasp or the hardest skill to kind of get mastered?
I want to say serve receive, just because serve receive is like one of the hardest skills. It's physical, just as mental as it is physical. So it takes a lot of reps. It takes a lot of patience to get it down.
All right, obviously lots of volleyball in your life, but you're more than a volleyball player. What kind of things interest you outside of the sport?
Yeah, I love being outside, spending time with my family. So we like to go on family hikes. So that's something that I like to do. And I like to hang out with my sister, who's a sophomore at Hoban as well.
All right, so family hikes. What's the best place that your family likes to go to and hike it up?
Probably Cuyahoga Valley National Park. That's a good one.
We live in Northeast Ohio, not a lot of hiking weather. So, what kind of things do you guys do when it gets colder and you can't necessarily go for a nice hike anymore?
Yeah, my brother plays basketball, so we go to a lot of his games on the weekends and weekdays, and it's nice to support him.
Do you still like to be outside in the cold? Are you like a cold weather person or do you lock it down inside when it starts to get cold outside?
I'm not really a big fan of the cold weather. I'm not a big snow person, so
Outside of hiking, what's your favorite outdoor activity when you do get to be outside in the summertime?
um, ooh, that's a good one. Me and my sister, well, we take walks around our neighborhood, but that kind of goes with hiking a little bit. But I don't know, just being outside is one of my favorite things.
Such an athletic family. A lot of backyard sports come to mind. What is the family backyard sport? Which one do you play the most?
Well, we actually have a volleyball net, so we sometimes set it up in the summer and we all play together. So yeah.
Obviously men's volleyball is a thing now, that which is say how much of like how good of a volleyball player do you think your brother could be if he ever decided to pick that up?
I think he'd be pretty good. Yeah. He's
Did he
pretty
ever
good
try to
at
nudge did he ever try to nudge him through it like last year when Hoban decided to get a volleyball team and volleyball became a OHSA sport? Did he ever like get in his ear and be like, "Hey, why don't you go try out for the volleyball team?"
I tried, but he was like, "No, I want to play baseball." So
Baseball.
yep.
It's all good. You don't have to be in the elements in volleyball. Just saying.
Yep.
When you think of just things that make your family unique to you, or things that make your family special, whether it be traditions that you have, or things that are just, just your family, and you feel like it's something that makes your family unique from others, what things come to mind?
Sorry, you glitched out. Can you repeat the question?
Okay, so obviously we're talking about your family. So when you think about things that make your family unique and things that are just your family, you feel like no one else outside of your family has that about them. What kind of things come to mind?
Well, we spend a lot of time together, and my dad likes to designate like Sundays or family activity days. So every Sunday we try and go do an activity, whether it's like going to get something to eat or going hiking or going to a festival. It's just we always like to spend time together because the school year gets really crazy.
All right, Amber, before we let you go, I want to give you the time to just give a shout out to all the people in your life, probably your family. I'm guessing is going to get a lot of them, but I'm sure you have other people that support you as well. Whoever you think deserves a shout out at the end of this interview, I want to give you as much time as you want to give that to them.
Yeah. So first one is my sister Kaylee, who's a sophomore at Hoban. She's like a huge part of my life, and she always gives me advice when it's needed, especially when I'm playing back row. I sometimes ask her for some advice, but she's always there for me, and I'm there for her in return. And then I want to give a shout out to our senior Sophia Day. She's a great leadership role on our team, and she's going to help push us to the best that we can do this season. And then to my parents, because they are always there to support me in school, out of school, sports, whatever it is.
All right, Amber, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate it on a Sunday. I hope we didn't get into your family activities too much. We appreciate your time. We thank you. We wish you the best of luck the rest of the season, and we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you so much.